What's going on, everybody? Seth Miranda here, last ex-witness on virtually all social media. So the Fujifilm XF 50mm f1 autofocus lens has been released. I got a chance to play around with a pre-production model with unfinished firmware. So that means, am I crooked? I feel like I'm crooked. I'm just gonna do this. Just gonna do that. That looks a little better to me. Okay, so I got to play with a pre-production autofocus f1 lens, right? And I'm never really one to use super shallow apertures. I feel like it's really gimmicky really easily. But I had a lot of fun with this lens, and we did a video with it for AdoramaTV. And funny enough, what's cool about that video, and I'll bring the video up just so you guys know what the hell I'm even talking about. Although you probably know. But this right here is, whoop, wrong monitor. Can't win today, guys. Can't win. There we go. Can't win though. And now I got to switch this cam link out. There we go. Oh, can't win, guys. Let's try that again. So I did this Adorama video with the lens, the 50mm f1 autofocus, and it's kind of a funny little story the way it came out to be, because me and Fernando were looking at each other like, "There's a really cool lens. There's a really cool applications for it. We know what everybody else is going to do, which is just like go out at night and shoot, show the bokeh, the bokeh, whatever you call it is, you know." And I said to him like, well, my original plan for it was to take a model and wrap her in glow sticks, and that would be the only light source. Well, that fell apart pretty quick, mainly because we realized how many glow sticks we would need, how long it would take, and we also didn't have like a clear vision for what we were going to do. And then also, it was raining, and Fernando's like, "Let's go outside, let's shoot outside." And I said, "Nah, I want to do something like candles or something." He's like, no, everyone's doing candles with the Sony S3, and this is I'm like, yeah, there's another low light application type piece of equipment. Let me do whatever I want. He's like, nah, we got to do something. Like, all right, let me think about this. We had these broken monitors sitting on the floor, like physically on the floor, that were broken from display. Like people in the store like poked them and they broke and stuff without, you know. And I said, it's such a shame. Why don't I use them as light sources and I'll figure it out? And he was like, nah, it's gonna be whatever. I'm like, no, it'll be cool. It'll be, you know, grimy or whatever. He wasn't seeing it. And I think he thought I was talking about making the monitors into, I'll even show you. So this is the actual video. And that's the lens, which, by the way, is not that big considering what it is. And the monitors, I told him like right there, I said, look, I'm gonna grip them and you're gonna have them, they'll be like surrounding her, and it'll be like real, like some sort of sci-fi look to it. It'll have that kind of futuristic look to it. He's like, no, I don't think that's gonna be great. And then the morning of this, I said, I'm gonna go downstairs and start gripping this together. And he was just like, whatever, you know, he was like, whatever. He did not want to hear it. So I go live. I'm go live. I'm so used to saying that. So I go downstairs and I start looking to grip these monitors. And you see how I have these I forgot what you call it, Mathilini clips, Mathilini clamps, I should say, into the 5/8 socket on the grip arm. Well, originally what I wanted to do was take baby plates and what? So it's not. Okay, I want to take baby plates and screw them to the back of the monitors and then put it in the arms, but really quickly the plates were not going to seat in there easily. So I just took the actual stand. So this is right here is the stem, and then this right here is the actual foot of the stand from the monitors, and I just clamped them like raw caveman style, you know? And this is what we ended up getting. And then once he started seeing me build, he was like, oh, okay. He started kind of seeing it, started getting it. And then we just started throwing the nan light tubes in the background, which were really cool. They definitely worked out. Let's fast forward. I don't need to see myself talking. But yeah, they were like people that were like customers in the store were the ones who broke these monitors because they were on display and they're just messing with them, you know? The lights in the back were 4-foot, I think they were 4-foot, Nanlite RGBW tubes, Pavo tubes they call them. And we just strung them up and ran them off the AC power. So everything here is on its own C-stand. 1 C-stand, 2 C-stand, 3 C-stand, and then 4 C-stands. This Mac right here was running Photoshop into this monitor, and this was actually running Photoshop in the background on this screen into this as a secondary monitor while I was shooting tethered. So I really just thought this would be really cool, and I kept on playing around with the colors till something really hit. And because we were going cool tone, no, actually the cool tone came later. I went with the neon pink and the green pretty quickly because everything else I changed to just wasn't creating a dynamic light. And once that hit, I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to go with it. It'll have like a Suicide Squad type thing going on, but it'll be better than that. And then the background was just stark black. And I was like, nah, let's throw the tubes in the back. And we were trying to figure out what color. And I just said, do a cold, like pastel-y color. And that's where we landed on the light blue. And it kind of worked, right? So the background had the cool tone. The foreground had the warm tone. I mean, even the green was like this lime green that had like a warm yellow aftershade to it. So it worked out pretty well. And it was, this lens was sharp, man. What is this Nikon thing going up here? This lens was really sharp. Where was I? Let me see if I can get, is this in HD? I think I can play this in 4K, right? Yeah, 4K. So I don't know if you guys had any questions about this shoot before I get into images you might not have seen from the video. But I threw the fairy lights in the background because I knew what people wanted to see was how it makes these bokeh balls in the back over here. I knew that's what people really wanted. I shot this on Fuji Velvia as the color profile to really get that pop and that color depth, you know? But even if I hadn't, it was a poppy color. And you could just see what kind of a mess we were making, just random piecing this together. I'm talking power strips down here, HDMI cords from the 2 monitors, power cables, we're snaking those around. We're trying to make it safe for Caroline, because the last thing I wanted was one of these monitors to hit Caroline, you know what I mean? Like, that would have been just pathetic for me to have happen, especially after I did a C-stand video, right? So yeah, I tried everything from the manual focus with the focus peaking, and you can just see how ridiculously sharp this is. And this is like in a compressed video format. But this was really what I wanted those fairy lights to do, was be a subtle accent in the background and not be a key feature, which is what I felt a lot of people were going to do with it, you know? You can see how shallow it is when right on the bridge of her nose is where I start losing focus, and it starts making her hair have this dynamic feel of like underwater feel to it. Doesn't the film sim only apply to JPEG? So that's one of the cool things about Fuji is you can actually take the raw file and still apply a Velvia film to it. Because in the profiles in Capture One, you can actually change it from generic XT4 to the Velvia. If you had that in Capture One, you can actually do that. That being said, I really didn't even need to do the Velvia, to be honest with you. I saw it in the JPEG format, but it was pretty vibrant on the raw file anyway. But I really liked where we were going with this yellow tone that was kicking from the green to the neon pink. And yeah, we kept the masks on. It was a very small room. Watch this part in the background right here with this dog. They physically forced the dog to sit. Watch. I don't know if you guys saw that. Look on the left side of the screen. I don't know if I'm in the way. Let me see if I can move myself out of the way. This dog gets pushed down right there. It was a nice little Easter egg in the background. We thought we would see a comment about it, but nobody commented about the dog. I really had a lot of fun having an aperture ring, by the way. The aperture ring was so much fun to have. You know, with Nikon that I usually use, there's no more aperture ring, right? A lot of systems, no more aperture ring. I actually did not like these shots. I felt they were too flat, but I think we needed something that just looked a little different. So the monitors on either side had to look through the fairy lights and so on. Some people don't like the way this is fraying over here. That's some jerks. I mean, I really think people were such a were really bitching about the dumbest stuff when it came to this lens. I do get that it's an expensive lens, and I do get that there's lenses similar to with like a 1.6 or 1.4 or whatever. How was the ring? Was it sturdy? Felt great. It really did. It really felt great. This lens feels like a tank. I feel like I could commit a murder with this lens. Just bang, 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 just knock someone's brain right out. It really did feel like a great lens. I had so much fun shooting this lens. And it was very interesting the way it handled flares. I think I'm talking about that right now. Actually, I think we show an example right there. You can see the flare creeping in, but it wasn't a blitz. And I think that's why the front element had like a concave to it. It was actually recessed. It was very interesting the way the front element was. The shot from above was killer. The shot from above. Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to find different angles in the same setup. And after a while, it feels like you're beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? And then, of course, we took it outside and we did like the typical headshot stuff, right? Super shallow. And, you know, reflector. I used the lasso light deflector in this video. And, yeah, this was, I love this reflector so much. I think they did such a good job with this thing. And it was super easy. I mean, we're talking about shooting at f1. I think this lens really sings at f2, personally, because you don't have just this gimmick of a depth of field shallowness, but you have like a little more bite to it, you know? Actually, I don't know if you guys saw that, but I actually clipped to my bag the reflector. So this is the bag from the Lasto light. Where is it? One of these guys right here. Let me take this. So what that is I actually took the clip from the bag and clipped the reflector to my backpack to keep it up and not worrying about the wind or anything like that. So that was my quick fix for that. I got some nice bounce into her face, and there you go, boom. Yeah, the reflector really snapped those eyes right out. And this was probably like the winning shot for me. If she needed a headshot, like that was the shot. Like, I mean, you can't, not this one, but that was f8. This is f1. Yeah, I mean, this is really like, that's like your quintessential actor headshot. You know, they need something super soft looking, and there it was. How did Fernando do that light speed rack focus out there? He's just good, man. Fernando is such an underrated filmmaker, I think, because he's been doing these short videos for so long. That man can handle a camera, and he loves Fuji. He chooses to shoot Fuji X-T4 for almost everything we do video-wise. So he was like, we got to do something amazing for this video. Meanwhile, we didn't have a lot of time. We only had like a couple of hours each day that we had the lens to do something. So, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, we're just going for it. So this is super shallow. I think this was f1.4, honestly. I don't think this was f1. So there you go. And, yeah, this is kind of where I like the lens to look. I really don't like when you see such a shallow depth of field that you lose the jawline. Like right here, you see the jawline, okay. Not crazy, but okay. And then this one really bothers me where I lose her total definition of her jawline, but that's what shallow depth of field is. Especially on someone with fair skin, you're gonna see this bleed through like that. But it is what it is. She was wearing very reflective makeup and a white shirt, so there was just light reflection like crazy. You know, yeah, Fuji has really great skin tones, really beautiful. You know, it's nuts. And this is how it is for video. You know, he didn't really do anything with the reflector. He didn't really want to bother with it. He was just showing how it, you know, rendered a little bit. It was over 2 days, but you have to realize that when they say we have it for 2 days, that means that our shooting time, when we're doing 40 other things, we might have like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours a day to figure something out and record something. This is 2 days including concept, execution, getting a model, getting a location, and then don't forget the reason these shots exist is because it started raining like crazy outside and we had to figure out something to do inside. So that's kind of where that fell for this. So kind of lucked out. But what was funny about this shoot was Fernando didn't want to do this part and I didn't want to do the outside part. And we looked at each other like, we were kind of like grunting at each other. And then he really liked the inside part, and then I was like, oh, I haven't shot like the outside version in a while with the shallow depth of field and a reflector. So that it was just kind of funny how we were both kind of conceited a little bit. So yeah, this is actually a cropped version of that one vertical that I showed you before. That was like, this is the headshot. So it did a great job. It is APS-C. You're gonna deal with certain things that APS-C has going on with it, but I think it's a really beautiful lens, and it's a lot of fun to shoot with. And I think that's one of the most important parts of a lens is the characteristics and how you deal with it. So that was the video, right? So let me get off of my mug. Let me see. We'll put it there. We'll put it there, and let's take a look at some of the shots you guys didn't see, some of the in between. Because there's only so many frames you can put into one of these videos, and I think that's one of the hardest parts with these videos is editing yourself down to such a level where it shows off what you did and you wanted to show, as well as what's good for the product and shows the stuff that the viewers want to see. Not just the stuff you appreciate, but what they really want to see. So let's take a look at some of those shots. I have about 80 or 90 frames here for you, so let's take a look at that, yeah? This doesn't look too ideal, but let's take a look. Wait, why did he say before? What? Oh, I had the letter Y clicked by accident. So yeah, these are just some that I pulled. I'm trying to see if my monitor is looking weird or not, because I got a feeling that my color is looking a little odd. Let me just take a look at something really quick. Nah, it's not bad. Okay. So, if you see something over here that you guys want me to pull, speak and I will do what I can for you. But pretty much I wanted you guys to see like the foreground stuff, how it renders out of focus from the foreground. And you can see over here my settings. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll shrink down the window and I'll move it to the side so you guys can see the settings on the lens. So this is F1 with Fernando in the way. F1. This is the banger shot right there. You know, F1. 160 ISO at 4,500th of a second. That'll freeze some action if you ask me. Some full body stuff, but I wasn't too wild about it, but I know people like to do that kind of stuff. If you guys have any questions, just please hit me in the chat. Some more stuff. These were kind of a little too stagnant for me, a little too static, you know. I'm using the cam link now, showing the Fuji shots. Hop on my YouTube. The chat looks dead. Are you guys still, am I still live? Let me know. And you know, you're just trying to find that background where it's not too distracting, where there's not things going through her head, things like that. Skin tone was killer. You know, Fuji really nailed that down. Here's F8. So F8 versus 2.8, you can see the difference right there between, you know, I mean, anything I want to see is pixel peeperish. Well, this is where we can dive into it if you want, you know. That is that tight enough for you? Is that pixel peeperish enough for you? I mean, these are straight out of camera. So yeah, I didn't think we were going to do the outdoor stuff, Robbie. I really thought that, like, hey, when we were done with the monitors, I was like, this is a cool video. And he was like, yeah, but people are going to want to see it used for real with skin and all that. I'm like, all right, let me figure that out. Like more full body, F1 versus F2. So this was F5.6. This is 2.8. And this is 1.4. So I think this was 2.8 right here. 2.8 versus at 1.4. Look at that drastic difference right there. You know what I mean? Like, you could totally see what's going on with this lens, you know? Yeah, f8 is sharp as hell. It's shockingly sharp. Keep in mind though, you're still shooting on a 24 megapixel sensor. I think that's what it is. The X-T4, I think, is a 24 megapixel sensor. Am I wrong? Fuji X-T4 megapixel. It is, what are we looking at? 26 megapixels. So you're looking at, no matter how sharp you are, you're still looking at a medium resolution here, right? You know? Yeah, I know, Robbie. It's just, we've seen these kind of shots a million times. You know what I mean? It's just, you've seen the outside with the reflector stuff forever. But this is what a lot of people are going to use this lens for, you know? This type of stuff, not so much. You know, this type of stuff you're really not going to see out there. In my opinion, that's where shallow aperture lens excels in full body shots. Yeah, it'll definitely cut your subject way out of the background. But I mean, I don't think you guys realize how hard it is for a lens to autofocus, or a camera in general, when the light looks like this. Like there's a pulsating frequency happening from the monitors, right? There's a crazy color tone. Look at how low light it is. Our eyes are completely dilated. You know, for a lens to even be able to negotiate this situation was very impressive. You know, I mean, this is what it is. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. You know, you can see how murky this light really is. F1 at 1/25th of a second. You know, these are, you know, LCD monitors that are flickering. They have a refresh rate to them. You have to keep that in mind, you know. Still, lots of detail, lots of sharp. You know, and then you got this whoop, what happened here? Then you got this background over here at 1.1, f1.1. And I guarantee you it's 1.1 because while I was holding it, I probably slipped just a subtle bit with the aperture ring. So that's one of those things, right? But you see how much cleaner the green light shoots than the pink light? So let's take a look at that. So this is pink light versus green light. Look at the difference in the clarity of the frequencies from the light. That's a real thing. This is shit that actually happens when you're using colored light sources that have flicker rates. You know? Does that make sense to you guys? And I think I even mentioned this in the video where I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised it handled the colored lights so well, you know? But this is really what happens when you're using alternative light sources. You know, neon lights, LED panels from advertisements on the street. You know, there's just so many different lights that have different properties, such as flickering and frequencies to them, that sometimes you want to slow the shutter down just to make up for it, you know? Dig the yellow transition zone. Yeah, so that was what I was, this sounds crazy and it probably sounds like I'm full of shit, but that's what I was going for, Robbie. I always pick colors when I'm shooting no natural light or daylight. I always pick two colors that when they meet can actually have a transition point instead of a sharp, murky, transition. I really prefer to have those subtle shifts over, and I think it makes a big difference. It's a nice subtlety because anybody can slap colors together, right? But I think it takes, you know, a bit of a photographer to kind of know what light's going to actually, you know, interact with the subject, you know? And then these, I just went for this, like, I turned the monitors into this like orange, and I was like, let me see what I can get out of this and give it like a kind of a movie poster kind of feel, but I don't know. You guys can tell me if that didn't do anything for you. And then these were just like grimy looking stuff, you know? So only, so when you're editing these down for the video, Fernando's going to be like, pick one of these, only one of these. So you have to sit there and be like, well, which one do I want to put in there? This was the one I ultimately chose because I felt it showed the depth of field and it really kept you in there and it was just creepy. I was going to go for this, but then I felt like having her complete in there just took away from the severity that this had. This looked very severe to me, What colors are good for that transition? Well, you're going to pick colors that have a mixing point. So if you chose two colors that automatically murk out, like if you chose like a rust and a purple, you're probably just going to get like a murkier, rustier, like a murkier, dank purple in the transition point. But if you have something that's like a neon green that has a yellow aftertone and it hits a warm tone like pink that also has a yellow tone after shade, that's when it hits and makes a heightened point like that. And I think I showed you guys this when I shot those portraits with the 4 collage portraits from the Grammys party, The blue highlight and the fuzzy flyaway zone is pretty smoking. So that is actually the nan lights. This is the nan lights behind her, which make more of a complete light theory, right? And there's the blue right there, blue rim light. And then when you start editing down the frame, if I were to just crop in here, let me do this. If I were just to crop in here, you wouldn't see any of the light sources, but you see the principles of the light sources, right? The whole cold rim here, but green there. And that's when you start getting tight on the frame, you start getting that look because you see the overall and you start editing down the scene with stepping in because I couldn't zoom in, right? It was a fixed focal length, right? And then you get these weird, murky, flare points. And when you do that, it starts becoming more organic looking and less like, hey, keep pointing light sources at the model. When you start getting these fades, that's where you start getting these like what feels like light sources that could exist in a space rather than light that you're creating. And I think that's what gives it that elevated feel for the viewer. I could be wrong. You guys are the viewer. What bothered me was because the lens was so shallow, I couldn't get the broken look on the monitors to show up clean. And when I did, it just didn't sing well. It was like, nah, whatever. I wasn't a fan of this because the light bar was just going right through her head and it really bothered me. Still usable, but just, nah, I wasn't really too into it. There's just better frames. And of course, you get your goofy shot. Because why not? Because Caroline's goofy. We like the goofy. What's funny is the very first frames aren't even a reflector. This is the sun going through the diffuser panel. And you can see that from the catch lights that there's no reflector, The chair has to make it to your appointment to test. Wait, the chair has to make it to your appointment to test? What are you talking about? And then this was actually just a test shot, and I just thought it was very creepy. You got Fernando stepping in there. She looks completely out of it. She's kind of lost holding this keyboard. I thought it was just really cool. And we built this out of whatever was lying around in that room. I think that was one of the coolest things because I feel like that's kind of what you do, and that's what a lot of people do, especially right now. You're kind of just working with what you got, right? This is F1 with a little bit stepped back, and then this is F1 with a reflector in there, So F1, where is it? F1 diffuser panel, F1 with a reflector. And you can actually see how the light gets colder from using just a reflector. And the reason that is because the diffuser actually makes the light warmer. So this is from the sunlight going through the diffuser. This is from the sunlight raw being reflected back in. So because I'm in the shade rather, and reflecting light back, it's colder. But also because the diffuser is warmer, the diffuser gives you a warmer key light here, But I really got sucked into the reflector look. I think that was the way to go. So I just kept on going with that. and she got really goofy and weird. So that was fun. And you know, just letting her move how she wants to move, keep it natural, you know. I was gonna go with this one, but this one just felt like you couldn't escape this woman's eyes, right? Here, it's like she's squintier a little bit. You get a nicer jawline, sure, but here, boom, it's like lips, eyes, freckles. You can't, and then this waterfall of gorgeous red hair. Like you can't deny this shot, you know. And you know the background blown out from the F1. I wasn't really feeling the full body shots. You could tell that I was just like over it before I even got in there. And you know, we shot for maybe 20 minutes. You know, in and out, we're gone. And this is it. So if you guys have any questions or want me to stop on any particular images, this is f2.8. This is where I really felt you got a nice bite out of the lens. I think f2 was kind of where I was leaving it, but I was shooting a lot of f1 because that's what the lens was, right? This is f8 though. f8, f8. I actually really like this shot. It has a lot of movement from the hair, you know. Although I love that pale skin, it probably helped the shots with the color saturation. You know, I when it comes to skin tone, people have these like whacked out philosophies that somehow exposure is different. And I went on this before. You heard on my Twitch channel, I think even here on the YouTube channel, why that isn't really true with the exposure. But what is true is the perception of the skin tone based on how the light's reflecting off of the person, right? So the exposure, if I take a light meter and I meter like this, the light falling on my subject, and it says f8, that's f8 for every skin tone. Whether or not you like that exposure is different. So she was pale, but I made sure no freckles were harmed in the making of these shots, right? We got every freckle, every line in her skin. I mean, I kind of showed no mercy here, right? But that's the way I like to shoot. I like to see my models really natural. I don't want to edit the shit out of this. I don't want to get rid of any lines in the skin. I don't want to get rid of pores. I want them to look like human beings. The light filling in is what gives you that explosion of this gloss, this what do you call it? Glow, this glow to her skin, right? You know, and I think people lose that when they're doing portraiture. I think they look to just blitz people's skin. And to me, if anybody else shot these, or not anybody, but like if the majority of people out there doing tutorials shot these, they would probably smooth out all these lines so nothing existed. But to me, how does she anatomically blink or move her eyelid? I mean, this is what we are. This isn't a flaw. This is how your eye works, you know? So I'm not a big fan of just wrecking someone's skin. She's beautiful. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? To this day, I don't understand people that do that. F3.2, what did I do? F3.2, F4, F1.4. Wow, look at that. F4, F1.4. You see that difference? Big difference, right? F1.4, 1.4, 3.2. Look at the background. 1.4, 3.2. Crazy, right? 2.8, 5.6. Boom, 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 boom. You know, so look, that's my philosophy of shooting. If you're someone that loves to edit, because every time I talk about how much I don't like to edit, I get some guy in the chat like, that's your opinion. And it's more like, look, I'm sorry you can't deal with women in their natural skin, and you're trying to create an impossible human being that doesn't sweat and would probably die from having no pores. I mean, that's probably not true, honestly, but I feel bad that people feel this need to alter somebody, you know? It's a balance. Those subjects almost always want to appear younger, and you have to remove and smooth. You kind of don't. Joe McNally has a video on AdoramaTV where he shoots a mature portrait and he shows you exactly how he would light it without having a retoucher, and it was brilliant. So you can create the light that might be more pleasing for your subject, sure, but actually altering their face to a point where you can tell they're older but somehow their skin is immaculate, no one lives for 5 decades and has nothing that has altered their skin. I mean, let's be real. From age to sun damage to, wear and tear, injuries, it goes on and on and on. All right, later, Kate Adam. Thanks for hanging out. Whoop. Let me put a 0 on that. There we go. Do you like their color science? Yeah, I actually do like Fuji's color science. I think they have a really nice natural tone while still giving me like these kick-in colors that I want. But I think it's still subjective. I think it's I think everyone, no matter what, will see color differently. Everyone will see. I love scars. I really love scars. When I photographed my own mother, I made sure I saw every scar and wrinkle I put on that woman's face. That's how I want to remember my mother, if God forbid, But it's right. Yeah. Robbie, she was a beautiful, mature lady, and that's why she was a mature model. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's reasons people are casted. Absolutely. If you're shooting someone who's a civilian and they want to look like something they're not, the first thing I do is say to them, I'm not going to make you not who you are. And if that's not okay with you, then I'm not the guy to shoot it. If you want to have a false documentation of what you are or who you are, and then that's how your legacy is, just a bunch of Photoshop and clone tools that no one believes, that's something for you, and that's not me, and I'm not the one to shoot it, and that's totally fine. I think it's a shame that people want to leave a legacy that's false and that isn't documentation of who they are. It's almost like we're going back to the old portraits that looked like they were overly airbrushed with rosy red cheeks and way too much skin tone on top of them. Remember those old time, early 1900s photos that did that, where they colorized the black and white with airbrushing? Meanwhile, nowadays we're doing this with Photoshop, right? We're ripping apart and pixels to make them look like they have orange peel texture to their skin that's artificial. Why? Or blitzing it to a point where their lips are the only thing that's in focus and so are their eyes, and it's like, that's not even how depth of field even works, man. You can even see here at the shallowest depth of field ever, she still has in focus cheek points, right? Orbital bones pretty in focus, upper lips in focus, underneath the eyes in focus, but somehow people edit this to only have their eyes sharp and their lips sharp, and they think that's, one, looks good, and two, is believable. If you call yourself a photographer and you edit things to a point where it doesn't even match the science of light, of having proper depth of field from lens elements, or how light actually enters and transmits through lens elements and is recorded into a camera, you're killing me. You're killing me. It absolutely kills me. This is not by NYU, Jose, no. This was by the West Side Highway. So that's my little lecture, is that people that that rip apart an image, at the very least, keep it photographically correct where you would still see sharp cheek points. If this is at the same distance as the eyeball that I'm focused on, it'll be sharp. So why is some people Gaussian blurring the entire thing and then clearing it away from the eyes and the mouth and saying, there you go, she looks beautiful? Dude, chill. And I got news for you. If you over-retouch headshots, those actors aren't going to get those jobs because they won't look like the person in the photo, and they won't hire you again. So, yeah, you made them look pretty that first time, and they never got hired, and they're never coming back to you. Can't imagine why. In fact, case in point, Caroline needed new photos because her photos she currently had made her look too young, and she was getting casted for things. She was going on auditions to be casted for things she wasn't going to get, like child roles, and she wasn't that anymore. You know, she's a grown woman. You know, and part of this shoot was her wanting to get new headshots, so she got them. She got a lot of shots to mess with, that's for sure. Lots of shots to mess with. You know? So I get that the shallow depth of field makes a pretty image and really keeps our attention on where, you know, the eyes and the person and stuff, but I just think it's a tool you use. It's not something you always use, and this isn't really how I would normally shoot usually, you know? Yeah, people are not mannequins. People are just not mannequins. I mean, look at her. I didn't touch anything. Anything. Yet. Oh, man, why am I got heartburn. Meanwhile, they would totally retouch this bone structure here, right? They would totally take this laugh line out. She's still beautiful. Why would I care about that? You know? Why would I care about that? And look, the laugh line goes away once you use proper reflector. Right? And yeah, there's still lines by her eye because that's how your eyelid works. It needs to have skin that folds, you frickin' mooks. Just saying. Just saying. Which shots do you want to go to, Robbie? Do you have one you want me to pull up? Yeah, her hair is phenomenal. Gingers for the win. Gingers for the win. Gingers for the win. Oh, man. I guess my cam link isn't dead because now it's not hot anymore. No idea what happened there. Oh, the one thing I was having a trouble with was still keeping texture in the mask. So if you notice, I keep on having her duck her chin, and that's so that her own hair acts as a negative fill to give me just a little bit of texture on the mask, because when it blew out, it was so distracting. So distracting. Those from above, I'm not sure which ones you're talking about. Are you talking about these? I think I only took like one or two, Robbie. I didn't really do that many. I never realized how many freckles she has. I thought it was someone else when I saw a post for her on Insta. Yeah, she's got a lot of freckles. You can see her Instagram. You'll see a lot of freckles. Yeah, this one was overhead, and I was like over it after I shot. I was like, cool. Yeah, you're done. I wish I moved her here and got more of her hair as like, so it was more like, I mean, I fucked this up. Let's just be honest. So it was more like that a little bit, just so that, oh my God, stop. Why are you doing this? No. What's happening? So it was more like, oh my God, stop. Like that kind of, so I didn't have all that dead space. I kind of liked it, you know? To me, that's a better frame. But I'll be honest with you, I got distracted at F1. I'm really focusing on getting her eyeball sharp, and then I just like forgot about composition a little bit, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not to mention I got Fernando in my face over here filming me. We're trying to figure out the light. There was so much shit happening here. It was crazy. Yeah, I could crop it, but I kind of don't want to. I just wanted these so straight out of camera. It was ridiculous, you know? Something like that, maybe. Maybe. Learn your shortcuts, Seth. Don't get on my case, Tank. I can tell you a lot of things you got to learn. But I mean, look at how glassy her eye looks right there. Look at that. So, I think actually the first shot, yeah, this was the first shot I took of the day. Like the first actual shot I took, just so I could see where my light divides, right? And I could see where it's hitting her, because her looking at me is is dead eyes, right? Like there was no light entering her eyes at that point. So that's where it was like, all right, I know I have to move her head to, I have to move her head so she's facing the monitor but looking just away from it, so that her eye wasn't engulfed with the light. If she looked dead at the monitor, her eyes would have been complete catch lights of those lights. So what I had was have her look towards move her head towards the panel and roll her eye away from it. And that's why you get these really dilated pupils right here. And the dilated pupils is what's really the clue to how low the light was, right? Look at how low the light was in this situation. Yeah, well, this is the mask she showed up in, so that, and quite frankly, we weren't expecting to shoot with the mask on, to be honest. It is what it is, you know? So if you guys have any questions or anything, because I think I'm pretty well covered with what happened here during this shoot. You can see how quickly her eye just goes away, you know? Well, part of the texture that's hitting from her eye is the green light editing out any color that was taking away from that texture. If because the light itself becomes a filter, so that's why you start getting the green over the blue, which heightens the shadow tone off of the blue color in her eye. If you go to the one where it's pink, you can actually see that we don't get that as much. See how it actually gets murky? But here it becomes way more texturized. And that's because the green is a filter making the cold tones in the shadow parts of the eye texture snap. And that's why the black gets deeper, So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one, I really did. Some detail in the white mask, It worked out really well. And all this stuff is all just light science, even down to what a shallow aperture does, But had this lens been on a full frame, it would have been like twice the size, easily. So all these right here that didn't make it in. Oh no, one of these made it in, I think. Pretty sure Fernando threw one of these in there. And this, I had to have been like 20 feet away. I mean, I was far from her just to get a full body with this lens. Yeah, it's just like throwing, an 80A or, a red filter on all that stuff. Yeah. And that usually would be for black and white, but, you can mess around with it. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? And you can even see the shallow depth of field hitting on the floor, right? Her shoe's in focus, but this shoe is soft. And even the blue light cascading across the bottom of the chair, And I did spray some fog in the air just to give it some atmosphere, because air does not light. All this is happening, well, not so much this, but all this right here in between the lights is a can of fog. How did I attach the monitors to the C-stands? Right here you can see a Mathellini clip on the monitor stand into the 5/8 of the knuckle. So 1, 2, 3, boom, we were in there. And then, of course, we had to make sure that the monitors were leaning on the right side of the knuckle so that it would tighten and not slip and loosen the knuckle and kill Caroline. Can't kill Caroline. She bruises easily. I need her. I need her. So, yeah. That was the Fuji shoot, guys. And if you are wondering what we're talking about, The link to the video for the Fuji video is over here. I'll just take this, put it in the chat, and you guys can check out that. I'd appreciate if you guys drop some comments on it and all that crazy stuff, because that stuff really helps. And we would like to be the #1 Fuji 50mm f1 video. Also, I went live on Nikon's YouTube today, which was a total honor. It wasn't live, it was a recorded Zoom call. But if you head over to Nikon's YouTube channel, Creators Hour, I was featured. And I'm on their Instagram right now, today. And you guys can go hit like and drop some comments on that, which would be greatly appreciated. Go to Nikon on Instagram, and one of my photos is up, and you can hit comment and all that stuff on there. Thanks so much, Brookie. I appreciate it. All right. So any last words, any last questions, anything? Because I have to submit something within an hour to somebody. So let me know. If you're watching this video on repeat, do me a favor and just write a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer it. I could easily see myself preferring this over a 56 and then using a 90 f2 as my type portrait. Yeah, I can see that. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate it. The Nikon thing was a total honor. I can't believe that they asked me to do it. It was absolutely phenomenal, really great, and I'm very excited with whatever is going to happen going forward. I'm also really excited for whatever Nikon's brewing to put out next. The Z5 is killing it, man. What a killer camera that is for the price. So, curious what they're going to put out next. Thanks so much, everybody. If you guys want to follow me and you don't know who I am, Last X Witness on virtually everything. Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. I'm trying to grow my Twitter following, so please hit follow on my Twitter page. That'll be great. And I am going to be live on Adorama's Twitch channel, by the way, tomorrow, noon Eastern time, with Matt Frazier from Lumix. We're going to talk about the brand new Lumix S5. So if you have any questions straight from Lumix themselves, just jump in on Adorama XP on Twitch tomorrow, and I'll be there with Matt Frazier. Really good guy, super knowledgeable, ridiculously knowledgeable. Nah, it's cool. You know, look, that's what live is, and not everybody can handle going live, and that's part of it. It's because your whole system can melt down. I'm glad that I was able to fix it, and I'm glad you guys came back. You know, I couldn't do this stuff unless you guys came to hang out. Talking to an empty room just sucks. I do have to edit this one, though. I have to cut the front off for sure. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Brookie. I appreciate it. And if you're new to here, please check out my Twitch channel. I'm way more active on Twitch than I am on here. So if you want to come hang out, we have a great community on Twitch and in the Discord. So you guys can go join the Twitch channel and then join the Discord. It's a 24/7 support system. I mean, half of you guys in this chat right now are in the Discord, right? I wish I had a Discord invite to put in there. That would have been smart, Seth. You're a jerk, Seth. I know, Seth. Let me see if I can do that, actually. I should have a Discord invite for you guys. So the Discord is basically a bunch of chat rooms where you can ask all the questions you want to a lot of people that are more than happy to help you, and myself included. And you'll also stay up to date on any videos that come out. Other pros like Vanessa Joy, Dan Norton, Ab Cisse, we're all in there, and we're dropping our newer videos in there. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of things that we don't share on other channels happen in there. Very candid conversations. Not to mention you can share your own work, you know? Let me get an invite going here. Let me see. How do I send an invite? Invite people, right? How do I edit the invite? Wait a second. Invite people. Edit invite link. Expires never. Number of uses no limit. Generate a link. Copy it. And boom. There you go. There's a link right there, Discord. Please hit it. Please join us. There's about 200 people in there now of all types of photography, video, audio, and just really cool philosophies. Nothing in there is negative. It's all positive. And yeah, what's up, man? BMX for life. I got to get back on a bike. I have been itching to go ride again for a very long time. I keep watching all the young, newer generations and BMX on Instagram, and I'm like, they're so good. Yeah, Brookie, please join us in the Discord. We would love to have you, and you will get notifications every time I go live on every platform. Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, you name it. Where I go live, I announce it in the Discord, and I would love to have more people in there, and you guys can be part of everything, including the Last of Light demos that I'm doing on Instagram. Jesus Christ, there's so much. I'm just doing so much, guys. So much. So much. The only negative things is our film. Oh, God, that's so corny. That's like a t-shirt people who don't really shoot wear to pretend like they shoot, you know? You're Brookie Mama? Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. And anybody who's watching this, please check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/lastxwitness. I'm actually going to be live tomorrow, Friday, at about 7 p.m. Eastern for a critique for you guys. So if you post images in the share images for live review chat room, I will be checking out those images tomorrow night. Okay. I am blitzed, guys. I am tired out of my mind, and I got some stuff I still need to take care of, and I got to go live tomorrow. So I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me and coming back on this live stream after I had a ton of technical issues in the beginning. I will see you guys soon. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow on Adorama's Twitch. If not, I'll see you on my Twitch tomorrow anyway, tomorrow night. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to Fujifilm, I should say, for letting me try out that 50mm. It was a really fun experience. I'm super psyched on it. And thanks to Nikon for having me on their YouTube channel. And thank you to everybody in the chat and everybody who follows my pages. Your support and your just loyalty to everything is just unbelievable. And the Discord is one of the coolest things ever. I can't believe what kind of a community we have in there. I'm so proud of it, and I think you guys are making it better every single day. The discussions are just awesome, and I'm so happy that we're a legit community out there. So let's keep it growing, keep the word of mouth going. Don't stop, keep creating. Go shoot, go shoot. Even if you have nothing in your head, not sure what you're going to do, just be open and go shoot, okay, guys? Thank you so much. Seth Miranda, Last X Witness on all social. I will see you guys soon. Later.